Remember, guys, if the lady doesn't soften up to you on the first try, publicly threaten to kill yourself until she budges.
Works every time.
Works every time. If it doesn't, steal the passport. Well, it's another day, another weekend. It's another Flick Lab episode. Welcome aboard, everyone. It's gonna be the fast train to, pretty boring.
Oh, already setting the mood here.
I may not be exactly on my finest today in today's episode.
Oh boy, what happened?
Precisely this episode. Today in this Disease Ridden podcast, we have been watching 5 romantic comedies from the Philippines.
Well,
Shit.
We haven't been watching, as far as I remember. Have we watched any romantic comedies? Can't recall.
Not pure romantic comedies, no.
Yeah.
For a good reason.
Well, we have done 5 now for this episode, so we've been fixing it a little bit.
Yeah, we also finally visited Philippines, so now we can also cross the country out of the list.
Yeah.
And never go back there again.
Oh, rough. Anyway, kumusta po? Welcome to the Flick Lab po. My name is Karri po. It's the magic of the Filipino language or Tagalog language. If you add the po at the end of the sentence, you make yourself more polite. So this is the formal way of speaking. So, go sexy, sexy love, po. Sorry, po.
What film did have that?
That was she stayed in the Gangster while she's the cheerleader.
Yeah. Oh my god, so it was.
Was that a new definition of cringe-worthy?
It was. Like I have dropped cringe-worthy previously on this podcast. We have, and on occasion when I have been dropping it, there has been kind of a difficulty to define what exactly in this film was cringe-worthy. But when it comes to she's dating the gangster, that most definitely is the definition.
A little bit about, I guess, the differences between the Filipino films or the cinema and comparing it, for example, to South Korean or the Japanese or the Chinese cinema. Well, let's put it this way. In Filipino movies, it's okay for women to fart. I mean, it's okay for all the sexes to fart, but in Filipino movies, you can do this. It's okay for everyone to be disorganized, unglamorous, and dirty.
I also can't exactly say how much that holds true for the Filipino cinema either.
Yeah, I don't know. Of course, these are romantic comedies.
Yeah, that does factor in. But even with these films, like you mentioned the farting, and that is something that does happen in these films. So we can at least credit these films that much. Kind of a natural
ventilation.
I don't know, disgustingness, ventilation, something not exactly posh glamorous. But
no.
when you check out the film's marketing posters, you see none of that crime and dirt that apparently somehow supposed to be in the film's text. Like, take for example the Must Be Love, which was the first film that we checked out. And that film, perhaps, when it comes to characters, that is perhaps the kind of the dirtiest depiction of our main leads in that film. The film makes a definitive point about how our leading lady, Pat Short, is a smelly sweat beast and really ugly and smells real bad. And then you see the marketing poster, and she's like fresh out of the shower. Even her dad's disgusting animal body part sweatshop is nowhere in the picture. They're in some kind of a goddamn field. in a fresh open air in the marketing material.
Yeah, well, Photoshop works wonders.
Well, Photoshop definitely works wonders, but with that type of marketing and later on with the way how the characters are being depicted in these films, I wouldn't really say that the Filipinos either allow their main characters, or especially the ladies, to be too dirty, like physically dirty in the films. Must Be Love is really reaching it when it comes to our lineup of movies today, and even that ran into pretty strong limitations pretty fast when it came to, butt shot being any type of dirty.
Yeah, perhaps could start with discussing our main friends of tonight, Kathryn, Bernardo, and Daniel Padilla. So, Kathryn, Bernardo, what do we don't know about Kathryn Bernardo? Do you want me to go on an epic explanation?
But by all means, because when it comes to my summarization of Kathryn Bernardo, she's a person who has a one hell of a PR team.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, the point is that there really is not much to tell about her. Like, for the audiences joining us
Yeah.
for today, the whole gimmick was, I don't know why we did this. Like, why did we choose rom-coms and why we went to Philippines? But the main gimmick here was to look at films that have a real life couple in them, acting in the main leading roles, so that they are couple both in the film and also outside of the film. And well, these celebrity couples and them making projects together, that's really nothing new in entertainment circles. We have had these type of exercises before. Ben Affleck was dating Lopez, and that brought us giggly. Matt Damon was with Angelina Jolie at one time, and well, we were gifted with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We have seen this in music world, for example, Greg Allman and Cher, when they were together, they made also very lackluster and hideously bad album together. So the phenomena itself is nothing new, but we haven't ever really studied, like, if you have a couple who has stayed together for a long time, as all couples, it's kind of a reasonable to expect that they also have their ups and downs, like all relationships have. So you could form a theory that once the couple hits a hard spot, since they are working together, perhaps that hard spot could somehow show up in their on-screen chemistry. And vice versa, like when it's all songs and roses, perhaps there would be some kind of a difference in the film that they made on the happy days versus the film that they made together when they were not so happy in their relationship. And that was kind of what we at least attempted to study in today's film lineup. And as it turns out, both Kathryn and Daniel, that the PR teams are so hardworking that you pretty much can't find any dirt on their relationship. And therefore, most of the whole entire exercise just went straight out of the window, because we don't know enough about them as a real life couple to actually say anything about does any of that real relationship show up in these films.
I'd say that it shows up in the way that they perform on the screen together, and I thought that there's a lot of honest performance and ease of performance when you're acting in front of your everything, your love. So yeah, I think especially Kathryn Bernardo is giving some powerful performances here and there, and they are both doing a good job.
I don't know, they have been colleagues more or less ever since their childhood.
Yeah.
If I understood correctly. So when it comes to the ease of the performance, that may just also be the fact that they are once again working with a familiar face. Since something that you pretty quickly also noticed from these features is that these films really, really love to recycle the same characters. From one film to the next, it's the same actors, and now they just have a new role. Perhaps it's a larger than in the last movie. Perhaps it's a little smaller. Perhaps they are this time they are more of a side character. But the actors, it's like a revolving door for the actors from one film to the next.
It is a bit something, well, a lot of something manufactured in the way of the structure of the film. As you notice this, like the Inciting Incident, you gotta have it in the 3, 4, 5 first minutes. It's always the same, and then you have like the midpoint. You have the epic revelation of something. It always happens a lot around just before the first hour ends or a little bit after the first hour, and most of them repeat a lot of the same beats, I would say. But let's talk about that in detail soon. Kathryn Bernardo, born March 26, 1996, an actor and a singer as well, started acting already at the ripe age of 6 or 7 in 2003. Is also known in the early movies from a Spider-Man parody called Gagam Boy from 2004, first film. Then landed first lead role in 2006 in the TV series Super Ingo, playing the love interest at the age of 9 or 10. Became known for her role as Mara in Mara Clara TV series from 2010 to 2011. Way Back Home 2011, first lead role in a film, and is the only Filipino actress to reach over 800 million Philippine pesos for 2 movies. The House of Us from 2018, which is the second most successful Filipino movie ever. And then there is, well, of course, Padilla goes with this sentiment of the most successful actor. And then with the Hello, Love, Goodbye from 2019, this is the highest grossing Filipino film ever. It's also a romantic duo film, but curiously, this is without Padilla. We can touch upon that later. Instead, the male lead is played by Alden Richards. One curiosity, La Luna Sangre from 2017 to 2018. It's a crossover spin-off of the Filipino hit TV series Lobo and Immortal. It's kind of the race against humanity, vampires, werewolves. They're all fighting together. And then there is 3 Words to Forever from 2018 without Padilla. And it was only in 2018 that she revealed that she and Padilla had been in a long-term relationship since May 25th, 2012. That is a long time to hide that fact. That this just, I guess, goes to some kind of could this be this conservative Filipino values, or just not wanting to deal with that publicly? Who knows?
Might also kind of be an attempt to preserve and safeguard the image that you have as a film actress.
Then again, I think it has worked in their favor that they have, come out as a couple.
This one appears to have worked in their favor, but it kind of is good to remember that when it comes to basically any celebrity coming out on his or her sexuality or anything that goes into them, being the sexual orientation or their relationship status or whatever, they always kind of carry with them the possibility and the possibility for somehow the dynamic and the perceived image of the celebrity in the eyes of her fans kind of changing. It may lead into a positive reaction, as it apparently has been the case in here, but the fan reaction can also be really toxic.
Yeah, as we have talked about in the Satoshi Kon episode.
A Satoshi Kon episode is actually, when it comes to problematic relationships between the artists or the celebrities and their fans, Satoshi Kon is more kind of a deep dive episode into that question than today's episode perhaps will be. But in the same way as we talked about in Satoshi Kon, The same problems are also something that Kathryn, Bernardo, and Daniel will and have been facing, or at least on some level, must have faced when they announced that they were dating.
So the couple have agreed to tie the knot before they turn 30, and that they're planning to get married, according to the recent information, in next year, 2022. Daniel Padilla. Who the hell is Daniel Padilla? He was born in 26th April 1995, Filipino actor and also a recording artist, also known as DJ Padilla, not because of doing any DJ work, but just second name. His life as a child was difficult, and he had some issues with his father. Family was really poor at one point, no electricity, no food. And Daniel was known to be a bit of a playboy before kind of settling down with Kathryn Bernardo. 3-time double platinum recording artist, successful there, son of an actor and actress singer, nephew of Robin Padilla, also a famous actor in Philippines. The first time Kathryn Bernardo and Daniel Padilla worked together was for Growing Up, a 2011 TV production. And as stated, the relationship started on May 25th, 2012, when Kathryn was 16 and Daniel 17. They paired again in Princess and I TV series, and it became one of the most popular shows for ABS-CBN. They joined again in Star Magic's 20th anniversary ensemble cast movie 24/7 in Love from 2012, where they did not have any kind of lead parts yet. They then had supporting roles in Sister Rakas from 2012. Padilla had success with his first EP around this time, and then with his first full-length studio album, DJP. Went on to act with opposite Bernardo again in Got to Believe, 2013 TV soap. But the proper breakthrough in feature films came with Must Be Love from 2013. It's Padilla's and Bernardo's first proper romantic movie together. And this was closely followed by Backpack the same year, 2013 horror film, which I believe Henrik didn't watch.
No, I didn't touch that film even with a 10-foot pole.
It was hard to get into. I think it had a lot to do with the local beliefs in ghosts, apparitions of the sort. So went a little bit above my head, I have to say. That may sound funny, but yeah, I'm missing some context here. In 2014, Padilla did an action film, Sangalangang Ama Ina Atmnga Anak. Sorry to all my Philippines friends. He did a first historical action drama, Bonifacio, An Unang Bangulo, and of course the box office hit She's Dating the Gangster from 2014. Then came Crazy Beautiful You with Kathryn in 2015, broke records with earnings of 32 million Philippine pesos on its first day, and the second one to gain 2 million USD of international screenings of Filipino movies. Then Padilla and Bernardo have also performed music live, and in 2015 they recorded a Christmas album together called Christmas Love Duets. In 2016 came out Barcelona, A Love Untold, 2016 film. Padilla is part of a program to encourage youth to support and promote original Filipino music. Padilla is also known for his performances for charity purposes. Okay, let's get to the juicy stuff, Henrik. What has gone wrong during their relationship, if anything?
Well, if PR department is to believe, actually nothing.
Yeah, they seem to be extremely well protected because you can basically find nothing about these people. Of course, we're dealing with the sources that we're able to find as Finns. We are not in the know of the Filipino sources where to properly look. But yeah, Daniel has at least once been mad at Kathryn. So
yeah, and there was that one time when Daniel apparently left the toilet seat covered up.
And yeah, so Padilla wasn't too happy that Kathryn got too drunk and then jumped into a swimming pool. And he was like, "What is this?" But that's about it that we know about it.
This is the material that we have to work on today. like fucking Vatican has more dirt on it than these two.
Yeah, these perfect angels.
Yeah.
There is this 2019 film that we shortly discussed on, Hello Love Goodbye, which is the film where, for the first time, where Kathryn Bernardo is not acting opposite of Daniel Padilla in a romantic comedy film. So the story goes that, well, yeah, he was doing it with another lead than him. It was just a different feeling than jealousy that he felt regarding that project. He also told that he turned the role down, but he also said that he was just missing the girlfriend and feeling that closeness, and he had to worry for his girlfriend because he's so protective and perfect boyfriend, while the girlfriend was in Hong Kong filming the film. But this was also something that they decided together that they wanted to try something a little bit different, not always be known as the KathNiel and just do something separately. But this is not going to be at the end of the KathNiel story, because they're, I believe, already working on their next film. According to IMDb, it was supposed to be released in 2020, but, you know, everybody knows what happens in 2020, so it might take a while to come out.
Or then not. Like, they finish it quickly and just release it on Netflix. Like, apparently there has been a mass dump of these films on Netflix lately. That's also for anyone who, for some reason, is interested about the films talked about today. You can find all of these on Netflix's streaming library. There's no need for you to actually go on and buy anything this time around.
Yeah, this is something that seems to happen to certain countries, that they seem to dump a lot of their material, especially if it's from the same production company as I think most of these KathNiel films are. So they are just dumped into Netflix, and yeah, I guess it's good for them. People are actually able to see these films. What else? Daniel is afraid of spiders. Yeah, that is a deal breaker for a relationship.
Yeah, shocking.
But there was this audio clip scandal where Daniel was talking about apparently his co-star, who was not Kathryn Bernardo, and seemed to be saying on the tape something kind of a positive about it, that he was really excited, or that was the feeling that you could hear from his voice, that he was really excited to get this text message from this co-actress, and apparently this caused huge shockwaves, and Daniel Padilla apologized for Kathryn Bernardo, but I don't know, from all I could tell, it really wasn't that big of a deal. And I don't really know the context either. And I don't speak Tagalog, so could be anything.
Yeah, this must be confessed that this wasn't one of our more successful attempts to approach any topic. This exercise on our part, well, it kind of just fell apart.
Yeah, but, you know, this might be just the savior of the episode, because there's also one more scandal. Did Daniel Padilla unfollow Kathryn Bernardo on Instagram? Apparently yes, if you check out the picture evidence. I checked just yesterday if this is still the case. It's not. They follow each other, so... Yeah.
Okay, everything is fine back in the kingdom.
Okay, would it be our first film? Must be love.
Yeah, let's switch to films, because this did not lead into anything.
Yeah.
At least in America, you get sexual misconduct and domestic violence.
Must be love. So the first film where they are on screen together as the leads. The love tandem begins. As stated, they did star in Sister Akas and 24/7 in Love together, but not as leads. This was not any kind of a super hit yet. It raked 61 million pesos in 3 weeks, so It was good and ranked on position 34, but yeah, that year. The film is directed by Dadalumi Bao, a writer-director, also director of Princess and I TV series where KathNiel was a part of it. Music is by Jesse Lazaten, who has also scored a couple of other of these Lovebirds films. Casting, we have Kathryn playing Patch, Daniel playing Ivan, Lisa Soberano plays Angel, the other love interest of DJ's character Ivan. John Lapus plays Baby Martinez, son of a showbiz columnist, he's openly gay. Man of almost 100 credits in the showbiz, also acted in a film curiously titled The Girl Allergic to Wi-Fi. This is the movie of the slow-mos. The slow-mo is the part of our semiotic analysis, the structural analysis. Slow-mo is a repeating part, but I don't think I don't think there's anything really that symbolizes really anything in any of these films. But it's a repeating theme.
Yeah, it's also the film of that really annoying habit of trying to copy and use the acronyms used by youths and teenagers. Like over half of the dialogue here is YOLO or whoa or other such nonsense, and it actually gets old pretty damn fast.
Yeah, this is kind of a third wheel romantic comedy. The tertiary party there to ruin everything. They've got to fight for each other and their love.
Or do something. To be exactly clear, I do think that Must Be Love is like the second best film in today's gathering of movies. It's the one that where the comedic elements most worked for me. Didn't find it super funny at all, but well, it is supposed to be a romantic comedy, and at least I could sense an attempt at comedy every now and then. Like at least there was it did manage to reach a certain type of tone and a certain type of easygoing feeling in it, and the comedic elements were something that, well, at least did have a possibility of working.
Yeah, it's not trying too much of anything. It's just a very simple little love story for the teenagers, and that's about it. Get the hell out and roll the credits.
Yep. To quickly summarize the plot, there are two childhood friends, Ivan and Pachot. Both of them come from families where one of the parents has left, so both are growing with single parent households. Both have a fascination towards basketball playing, and well, the main crux of the story is that Pachot has developed feelings towards Ivan, but has never been able to work those feelings out. So they are stuck in the friend zones, and at some point, and Ivan is the type of person who has kind of switches from one girlfriend to another. And the big question of the movie is that, does Pachot ever actually find the courage within her to tell Ivan that she cares for him, and does Ivan actually ever realize that Pachot is the correct girl for him? And then there is also some kind of a competition about hair salons and some bet that goes on in the background.
Yeah, when that plot starts to begin, it feels like a proper subplot that is kind of meaningless, but then it becomes a part of their journey in the end. First it feels like, yeah, what is this?
It starts as something like, what is this? And then it becomes the driving vehicle which the film uses to for Ivan and Pachot to force them to come together, and Ivan to see Pachot in a new light and realize that he loves Pachot.
Yeah.
And then it once again somehow completely on the final 15 minutes, the whole hair salon competition thing just manages to fade back into the background and return back to the what actually is this territory.
Yeah, we get to the inciting incident really quickly in the 5-minute mark as Patch gets hit with the basketball, and then she says she loves Ivan. And because they're lifelong friends, as you mentioned, it's tricky for them to admit this right away, and this is setting us on the path of action here. And there's loads of obstacles. One of such is appearing at 24 minutes in when Angel gets off her car and Ivan experiences the slow-mo moment when the beautiful girl gets out of the car in the middle of nowhere. Now we've been introduced to all the key characters and we've established the inciting incident and what we're going to deal with here. Yet another obstacle at 33 minutes might be seen as an obstacle when they're at the restaurant of Patch and Ivan comes there to meet Angel and Patch realizes she's got an obstacle to face here. By now we've established that Angel is very picky and has completely different interests to Ivan, so it starts to fall apart, where very quickly Ivan starts to show the affection of his towards Patch, for example at the beach with the volleyball game and everything. In case you were wondering what is this mustache shit all about, it is in the beginning of the film when they're playing basketball, Ivan and Patch are wearing these fake mustaches, and this is a reference to the film Mr. Suave and the character of Mr. Suave and the mustache that he has. It's seen as some kind of a symbol of the ultimate dream man of a lady. I don't know why they're wearing it right there and on that day, but yeah. It's a big twist moment around the half mark of the film, pretty accurately on time there. 1 hour and 2 minutes in, Ivan and Patch, they get to hear that they're supposed to be the bride and groom for the fashion show. So now this subplot becomes part of the important part of the main plot. And of course, we got a disaster phase at 1:17. Angel, she returns and catches Ivan and Patch facing each other as if they would be kissing each other any second now. There's also the confrontation with Daddy-O. I'm not only your partner, can't you be just kind of a daddy for me moment? 1:25, there's a continuation for the disaster or the crisis phase of this film. When Ivan and Patch, they try to sort their shit out at the basketball field. The most interesting moment for me in the film. At 1:36, Ivan then confesses to Angel that he loves Patch more. Sorry. So she sort of acquiesces that you should be at the stage, you two guys. And so that's kind of the climax, and then super fast exit out of the film. There's barely any act 3s in these films. It's just, okay, solved, you're my girlfriend. Kiss, or not really shown even the kiss because of conservative values of the Philippines. And exit film.
And at the very end, I guess, it's kinda hazy, but I guess Ivan's mom lost her hair salon.
Right?
Yeah. Like the hair salon thing is that Ivan's mom has had a long running hair salon in one spot. Her ex-husband's new wife takes property on the exactly next to her, and they form the rivalry where they make the bet that they are both taking part in this hair grooming competition, and the loser has to leave her spot. Whoever wins the competition is never actually confirmed, but what is confirmed is that Ivan's mom most definitely did not win that one. So, I don't know. Ivan and Patch get each other, and Ivan's mom is jobless.
I think Ivan will just be to the mom like, I will always be here for you. Yeah, that joke got a little bit old there. Well, that's the preliminary phase of Must Be Love coverage. I guess we could move on to the next one.
Most likely, there really is not that much to talk about in Must Be Love. It works as a template setup for pretty much the entire run of today's movies. There are some differentiations from the template of Must Be Love, but these kinda stick to this blueprint very heavily. Some of them have more dramatic emphasizing, but still.
But still, 4 films to go. She's dating the Gangster on the menu next from 2014. This film is directed by Kathy Garcia Molina. Now, one of the very few female directors in this podcast that we have covered. But as it turns out, now that we suddenly cover loads of rom-coms, we are tackling a lot of female directors as well. And she should be the hottest directors, or if not the hottest director in the country now, since she has now directed these 2 of the most successful films in Filipino goddamn history, The House of Us and Hello, Love, Goodbye, along with other huge blockbusters. And the cinematography here is by Dan Villegas. He is also the DP of Crazy Beautiful You and 24/7 in Love, the 2 other KathNiel films. He is also a director. Screenwriters, Carmi Raimundo and Charlene Grace Bernardo. Carmi Raimundo is a repeating screenwriter here. Music by Cesar Francis Concio, who composed music for Pack 9 Lives. This film is based on a pop fiction book of the same name.
Yeah, apparently the story more or less crept up upon the word from the cancer-ridden hellhole that is also known as the Wattpad app, which is a app where there is a really, really large collection of horrible fan fiction and other literary classics from various people all around the world.
Okay, in good hands then.
Most definitely. With She's Dating the Gangster, we are actually witnessing a certain type of production trend that is happening in the movie industry, or has been happening in the movie industry for perhaps something like 5 or 10 years now, where the auditing process of what scripts or what stories get made, or more precisely, what properties do we buy and then turn into film scripts in order to film them, that auditing is more or less now being transferred into the potential customer base by the studios and production houses, kind of just skulking around Wattpad and websites like like Reddit's creepypasta community or other creepypasta combination sites, and desperately trying to find stories that have the biggest number of followers, perhaps the biggest rating, that have some kind of a clout in the service where those stories exist, and they just willy-nilly buy the stories from there and then try to turn the story into a film script. This is something, for example, Steven Spielberg was at least planning to film one of the creepypasta storylines. I don't remember what was the name. It was a cursed bell tower thing. Apparently, they bought the rights, but the production didn't happen. And now we have an example of something that actually went through and became a film in She's Dating the Gangster.
Well, as long as the original material is gold.
Well, with Wattpad and Reddit's creepypasta community, how could it not be gold?
Well, if it has enough upvotes, of course it's gold.
Naturally. Must be a real masterpiece. Where is the Academy Awards?
Yeah, let's find out how Academy Award worthy this is. Daniel Padilla plays Kenji and Kenneth. Kathryn Bernardo plays Athena and Kile. Some other characters here. Sophia Andres plays Abigail, here in her breakthrough role. In this film she's 15 or 16. She played alongside KathNiel in when I say KathNiel, I mean it's like the term that the fans are using for many of these celebrity couples. You know, the names are condensed into one. Daniel Padilla, Kathryn Bernardo becomes KathNiel. So she played alongside KathNiel in Princess and I TV series, is also a model and has one child already. Khalil Ramos plays young Lucas, also known for Too Cool to Be Forgotten, written with numbers, Too Cool to Be Forgotten. A gay interest coming-of-age film, which won the Best Film, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Cinematography accolades in the 12th Cinema One Origins Film Festival. Okay, so we're dealing with the third wheel romantic comedy type of film once again. They've got to fight for each other once again. They love each other, but the other doesn't want to admit its situation initially.
Well, yeah, no. This is a kind of weird hostage situation story that we have. So to quickly recap, she's dating the gangster. It starts actually. When did the film start? 2014, which was present day, way back when. There's a dad and his son. They don't come along too well. Dad decides to take a mysterious plane trip for mysterious reasons. Son is kind of uptight about this. Turns out that there's a plane crash and Daddy-O goes missing. Son rushes to the airport and there finds a young girl who also claims to be the daughter of the missing dad. And well, they form a pact where they both decide to travel to find the Daddy-O. There's an emergency camp where those who have been found alive and needing some type of medical assistance from the crash site has been transported to, and our pair decides to travel to the camp. And the deal is that if the boy tolerates the girl will tell about the long lost love story, how both of their parents came together and what is the secret love that they formed all those years ago. And from there we get into a weird hodgepodge of broken hearts and troubled love and, well, borderline psychotic behavior. There's a heartbroken incel who is the gangster at the school, but not really, I guess. And I don't know, they somehow they managed to form certain type of social hostage situation where they fell for each other.
One thing that disturbed me right off the bat is that there is the scene, I wish you would have died instead of mama. And then this Daddy-O goes on this flight that then crashes somewhere, and then there are a few survivors. And after that, it's like he's just staring at the TV screen like, okay, that happened. And then he goes to the airport, meets with the lady, and it's like they're not really worried that he would be alive or dead. Who cares?
No,
I mean,
no.
the girl's mission is first of all to just get Auntie and the Daddy-O back together again because it's really, really important.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the guy is just getting more and more infatuated about the girl, and that's it.
Yeah, like our leading hero when it comes to the modern day 2014 parts of the film wakes up one morning because at the mansion where he lives there's a huge ruckus going on. Goes to downstairs, learns that the plane where his dad has been has just crashed, and we don't know if the dad is still alive. And the expression on his face is kind of like, oh bummer.
Yeah, makes me
Well,
believe
that happened.
makes me believe that he was really serious when he said those lines to his Daddy-O. So that's where it happens. We get the characters moving. And of course, this is a film that hops between, I believe it's the 70s setting of these different characters, depicting the past of their parents.
I would guess it's 90s because of all the skateboarding.
But
90s was really big with extreme sports, which included skateboarding for some goddamn reason.
Okay, 70s, 80s, or 90s. Close enough. I paid a lot of attention to this extremely colorful clothing and color everywhere. It's so colorful. Unbelievable. Maybe this is the most brightest film in color spaces that I've seen in a long time.
Well, I don't know. I know Barcelona has also segments that really try to rival the colorful nature of She's Dating the Gangster.
Oh, okay. We'll be on that in a sec. So we definitely move on to the second act around the time when in the past there is this, from now on we're a couple, like a forced couple, because I just gotta play this guy who has successfully landed a new girlfriend just like that. But then it turns out that this girl just for some reason separated with the guy because she knows that she is going to die of gastric cancer stage 3. And this is just something that kind of icks me about this film, because it's just, I don't know, it's just throwing around these medical terms and these horrible diseases, and just kind of plays with them and then doesn't do much with them. You have this gastric cancer stage 3 girl at her deathbed, and we never see her again. It's just, yeah, we got rid of this girl.
Yeah, like they both. The main gist here is that Genji, who is the missing daddy-o, in the past, he was dating a girl named Athena. And Athena has broken up the relationship mysteriously, never explaining Genji why they broke up, and Genji is now all heartbroken and dark and brooding and sad and all gangster shit or something. It turns out that the reason is that, as you mentioned, Athena has cancer. And she knows that she's going to die, and she kind of just tries to save Genji from heartache by breaking up with him and then dying off screen, because that's supposed to help, I don't know, somehow. And then in order to win Athena back, Genji essentially bullies and socially shames, and in the end, by threatening another Athena with suicide, forces her to start dating with him.
Yeah.
And the plot here is that this new relationship with Genji and Athena 2 is supposed to make Athena 1 jealous enough for her to take Genji back. And then at the epic plot twist, it turns out that Athena 2 also has the exact same cancer. And the cancer never actually really affects these characters' life in any way. It has zero physical consequences, except, when the script finally reaches the moment where, well, Athena 1 dies. Then finally the cancer actually does something. Like, now she's on a hospital bed, and Athena 2 becomes paralyzed from waist down, apparently also because of the cancer. But that's like there are exact moments within the script when cancer actually has some effect on these characters' lives. Otherwise, it's barely even there.
But
Blink and you forget that it even exists. And it is a bit problematic because, as you mentioned, these are real issues. Like the condition that both Athenas are going through, it is quite dramatic. And it is something that does have constant effects on would have constant effects on their lives, would this be real life. And here it's kind of just thrown around willy-nilly.
Yeah, good word. But the first Athena, kind of the first target that he wants back in this film, she has the cancer, but the Athena number 2, the not pretty Athena apparently, she has cardiomyopathy.
Oh yes, shows he that.
And so somehow, I don't know if it's possible. I think it's very individual how the severity levels go with this disease. So I guess it's totally possible that she would live to a long, ripe age. And then, of course, she wants to live in order to see Genji again on like 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later. still holding on to this teenage crush or kind of true love. And then when they get together at the ripe old age, Henrik, I just don't feel it because these are obviously different actors for starters, and then surely I don't feel it, and it's just this whole cliche thing that I don't buy that they would be so infatuated about themselves for that long and still have this kind of you're here and then
Yeah.
she dies off.
These characters have not seen each other for years now.
Yeah,
Like Genji has a son with another woman,
yeah.
and and Genji and Athena too have not been in contact. Contact at all, I guess, during that time. There has just been that kind of a longing love where they both have been thinking about each other but never done anything about it. And when they finally at the end of the film they come face to face and see each other long last again. Now they are once again, as you mentioned, they are immediately affectionate with each other. I guess because true love
Yeah,
or
I mean,
something.
even if it
Perhaps also because Athena too, like you corrected, has a heart condition that only acts up when it has a dramatic effect on a script.
yeah, I just don't buy that you can hold on to those extremely intense feelings of love that you had in your teenage years, and then you have completely transformed, hopefully, to a different person when you're older, and then that's these feelings bursting out again like that. It feels like, God damn, you wasted your life again.
Well, you wasted your life already once before, which wasn't the moment when you originally, for some reason, fell in love with Genji. Like just can't get over the fact that the way how the love between Genji and Athena too is supposed to kind of come up or be born in the film. It's based on some of the more insidious shit that I've seen in rom-coms. Granted, She's Dating the Gangster is not the only rom-com that does this, but it bears to remember that the whole original relationship, or the fake relationship, which then on grows into a real relationship, essentially is based on the fact that Genji and his friends bully, socially shame, and isolate. And as the last straw, Genji quite literally he climbs on the rooftop of his school and publicly threatens to jump unless Athena too starts to date him.
Yeah, but it all turned out all right.
It all turned out into a real love at the end. Yeah, certainly.
And it all turned out into the high point of the film with the go sexy, go sexy, go sexy, sexy love.
Oh God. There's a reason why I didn't actually listen to the soundtracks of these films, and that's one of them.
I hope it's not on the soundtracks.
I pray it's not in the soundtracks, but I'm most definitely certain it absolutely is. If we ever gonna check out She's Dating the Gangsters soundtrack, it most definitely is gonna find there. It's gonna be like track 7 on the soundtrack.
Now, Henrik, if you want the next level of cringe regarding this, you can find on YouTube a video where they're in a talk show, Daniel Padilla and Kathryn Bernardo, and the host makes them do the whole sexy, sexy love again.
Oh God.
And then she already kind of starts doing it, and then the host is not yet, oh, and then
This film somehow just managed to get worse and worse as this episode goes on. Like I was tired. I was tired with these movies. After I had watched them, I was like, oh God, yeah, this episode is gonna be a fun one to be making, and now as we are making, I hear more and more about the YouTube trash that you have been managed to dig up. It's Oh god, this is turning into a bottomless pit of despair.
I admit that this is one of the hardest episodes for me to do. I mean, we've been doing this episode for what, 2.5 weeks or something, quite of a long time.
Quite of a long time.
And it's been only in the last few days that I've properly started to make any kind of structure for this episode. Reason being, I didn't find any structure to build upon. So, yeah, welcome to the Flick Lab.
Welcome to the Flick Lab. And did you ever figure out how the fuck Kenji is a gangster?
Well, he has a skateboard and
he has a skateboard
and a bandana.
Yeah, apparently that's enough. The film's name is She's Dating the Gangster, and they for some reason that the two male characters, Kenji and his son, are being called gangster.
Yeah.
By the ladies of the movie.
It's cute. Cutesy.
It is. Being associated to organized crime, drug dealing, and murder is cute and sexy. and since we are talking about completely despicable and horrible behavior from the male character's side, what did you think about the ending of the film? Like that part where apparently Kenji and his son, they organized a second, this time major fake plane crash.
With 50 plus people.
With 50 plus people, so that they can trick Kenji's son's crush to believe that the son has perished on a plane crash.
Yeah, and then they kind of high-five each other.
Yeah, high-fiving each other, and it's better to remember that this is kind of a major stunt. Like they trick a news crew to be standing on the airport terminal simply because, you know, when the real crash happened at the beginning of the film, it got featured in the television news, and there was a news cruise on the at the plane terminal. So now since they are now faking a second crash, there also are news crews, and now they have also managed to somehow get the official airport terminal crew to play a part also in this fake plane crash.
Yeah, and just before that, there is this old Kenji and Athena meet, and I think the film kind of considers this to be some kind of a climax of Act 2, but it kind of sucks because
it does. It does.
It uses these different actors to finish their story, and I don't feel kind of anything, and I don't buy them as these characters. And then it kind of ham-fists the ending of the young people story in there in just 2 minutes at the airport. Like, I think my love has died. He's very sexy and I can't find him. And were you looking for me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of the
not to mention that actually the ending's romantic culmination for Kenji's and Athena 2's love story arc is that they are just sitting on a bench. Yeah. That's the closing shot when it comes to their love story. When they finally like see each other after all those years.
Yeah. Now she can die in peace. But yeah, can we start our own love story? No kiss for the conservative Philippines and end credits.
That was really, really weird trend to notice on these films. There are certain elements that gotta keep on repeating from one movie to another. And you can't show the kiss is most definitely one of them. I didn't pay any attention to that first, but you know, by film 2, She's Dating the Gangster, I started to notice that like they kind of mask it pretty well at first. Like I said, I didn't notice it when I was looking at Must Be Love. But seeing more than one of them, you actually do pick up on the fact that they built the scenes so that their lips almost touch, and just on the last minute they cut into another camera angle. But Barcelona is the weird one that goes very heavily a special attention to the fact that now their lips are touching.
Yeah.
Like there's that fake out cut. Like once again, bring back the previous two films where they faked out from on a last second from the kiss. Barcelona also does that, and then there's the comment, no more cutting, and then the camera is like super close as they kiss.
Yeah.
Another really weird trend here is that apparently there really is not poor people in Philippines, because you notice that all these characters, they constantly live in giant ass mansions in these films.
Yeah, and their background wasn't really told that they would be particularly rich, right?
No, they are supposed to be more or less like average Filipinos. They all have these luxurious mansions or hotels somewhere.
Of course, Barcelona makes a huge point about this mom who is all there ready to write some goddamn checks to the son all the time, but there are no luxury mansions because they're just in the flat of the son basically, or the son and the mom are living in the same apartment.
Yeah, they had to go to as far as to Spain to finally face working class housing.
But speaking of poor people in the Philippines, actually the next film, Crazy Beautiful You, has those. It's actually centered on a village or a community of, well, poor people living without electricity.
in the middle of a desert where you can't by accident come into contact with them so that you wouldn't be infected by the poorness.
Yeah, well, okay. More on that coming. The film is directed by Charina Cruz, more or less, director of Can't Help Falling in Love from 2017, which I also checked. It's one of those KathNiel movies that we're not going to discuss in this episode. And then there's 24/7 in Love, 2012, that she also directed. Cinematography is by Dan Villegas, once again. The DP of She's Dating the Gangster. Second DP is Mosey. Screenwriters Jancy E. Nicholas, Bianca Bernardino. She wrote the book of She's Dating the Gangster, actually. Maan Dimakulangan, a longtime writer of Maalala Mo Kaya, the longest running TV show in the Philippines. A TV drama of sorts since 1991. Carmen Raimundo is back again, writer-producer of Hello, Love, Goodbye, and She's Dating the Gangster. Story by Rory P. Quintos, music by Jesse Lucas. This is the second Pinoy film to reach the 2 million mark outside the Philippines. Also passed 320 million pesos in the Philippines, which is about 6.3 million USD, which is indeed big in those parts of planet Earth. Casting: Daniel Padilla plays Kiko, Kathryn Bernardo plays Madam Baby / Jackie. Lorna Tolentino plays the mother of Madam Baby. Tolentino, she's an actress, host, and executive producer. She's been active actress since the 1970s, and is the widow of Rudy Fernandez, an actor who died of pancreatic cancer. Then we have Inigo Pascual, plays the role of Marcus, the brother of Kiko, competing force. He's a Filipino actor, obviously, singer and songwriter, son of actor Piolo Pascual. Inigo became known for Relax, It's Just Pag-ibig, or in English, Relax, It's Just Love, a rom-com once again. His father was in it too. Okay, so what do we have here? We have a third wheel romantic comedy. They've got to fight for each other. They love each other very much, and other one doesn't want to admit its situation. Two occasions in this movie where the music stops suddenly during scene transition. I have to mention a bit of a sloppy editing here. We have a cell phone obsessed race car driver, Jackie, crashes the car, goes into jail, and then meets Kiko, who is there to take her back to the mama who will take her on a mission to the mountains or in the middle of nowhere on a voluntary work mission to take photographs because she's apparently pretty good at it. Well, you didn't like those photos?
They were absolute shit. Oh my god.
Wow. Shots fired.
Dude. Like, to give some context, for my reaction, at the very end of the film, Jackie has a goddamn exhibition for her photographs, where all these important people like the mayor of the city and God knows who come to check out all her photos, and apparently at this point she also has become kind of like the go-to photographer for the mayor and other famous and influential people in the city. And when you finally see the exhibition, when you finally see the photographs, I mean, goddamn, I don't know how to photograph shit, and even the photos are the level of quality that I would shoot, perhaps even lower. And it's like that the film treats them like they are high art.
Yeah, and then the friend comes into frame at the exhibition, and he's like, "Your pictures are great, Jackie." And I wasn't convinced.
I wasn't either. Like there you saw a guy who was desperate to get his penis stuck into somewhere. Jesus.
But hey, this is one of the funniest films for me.
It is, but unfortunately that's for the wrong reasons.
When Kiko and Jackie meet at the market, the cell phone is stolen from Jackie, and then the chase ensues, and there's this kind of a slow motion transitioning. It's first a romantic slow-mo and then goes back to the guitar-heavy metal music chase. And the, and the romantic slow motion comes back during the chase, and I thought that was just fucking funny. Like, ding, ding, ding. I don't know. I feel movies very much, and that was fun.
Oh boy. It is a movie that somehow for some odd reason it tries to have this at moments. There are really short moments in it where it tries to somehow emulate like action movie. You mentioned the soundtrack that happens, and the way how the film starts, it points out to you that somebody has checked out at least one of those Fast and Furious films. Like the film's opening scene is an illegal, or I don't know if it's illegal, because goddamn if these movies ain't milk toast in their presentation. But it starts with a street racing competition, and from everything in that scene, from the cars, from the cinematography, from the atmosphere that the scene tries to build up, you can see even with your fucking forehead that somebody is trying to simulate Fast and Furious as desperately as possible, but apparently they didn't have the skill nor the money to exactly pull it off.
And after this exciting, chase, then Jackie is doing something that doesn't make any sense character-wise. This Kiko just saved the phone, basically, for the lady, and she is extremely ungrateful. Here, go away. I just smiled to you back at the bazaar or whatever, but go away.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the moment, like the parts of the film where Jackie is quote-unquote badass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Badass cell phone owner. Completely indulged, completely in her own world, in that cell phone world.
Which is, once again, a surprisingly hideous running theme in these films. They all depict the leading lady, the woman, as somehow shallow.
I was waiting for this argument. there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, but also if you go to the House of Us, there the kind of the male lead has to redeem himself to her.
Yeah, the House of Us does do a slight spin on the formula, but even there, the main lady, George, weird name, but you know what you're gonna do. But George is like once the film proper starts, when the redemption arc for the main male character Primo starts in the House of Us, it's George is being presented and framed as cold, as once again kind of a mean-spirited character, and her major arc in the House of Us is her once again finding her feelings towards Primo and falling in love with him again and softening up, and all of this is being celebrated very heavily. It's like the framing in that movie is so much in your face that you wouldn't help but to see it even if you were literally blind.
Well, you know what else is very much in your face in that film in the first 5 minutes? Misogyny. Actually, not only that, it's male hate, female hate.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. I like you are referring back to the debate competition that they are having at the school, and once again they are supposed to be. Is that supposed to be university, high school level, high school at least?
Yep.
And this is supposed to be a debating competition, and they are having a debate about the role of women in society. And the arguments are like, well, all women can do is cook and clean, and the lady and George kind of shoots back that well only thing that men can do, they can't do more than one thing at a time because they are so dumb. And the film kind of frames this as some kind of a masterclass of debating.
Oh yeah, personal
Yeah,
insults
yeah.
flying.
There's a cheering audience for goddamn for this, and they are really like living this debate. Like, oh man, shots fired, even cooler shots fired.
You cannot survive without us. Gender expectations that you hate, and men and women are complementary, and we think more objectively, and this was really uncomfortable and so stupid. And
yeah, Primo's argument is directly that women are irrational because they feel so strongly, which makes them hysterical, and men are better sex because men think rationally, and the audience is like, fucking A, best debate.
One for the team.
Yeah, best argument ever. And I'm looking for like, have you jackasses who wrote this, have you ever actually seen a debate? Like a real debate? This wouldn't be so hard. Like this would be bad. This would be lackluster, even if this would have been like one of those forced upon you high school debating exercises. Where the entire class just has to have this debate from random subject for 5 minutes, and in those situations, of course, nobody is a professional debater. All the arguments are going to suck ass more or less. But once again, the House of Us, the situation is a competition, a fucking competition.
You certainly wouldn't see these kind of reactions, this kind of a debate in American movies anymore. Anyway.
No, and if you follow, like, or even if you don't follow, like YouTube is full of video-sized debates from academic circles, or even simply you know everyday people debating each other. There are like hundreds of videos about that, about different debates that take place in live streams or on some podium at a university if it's academic debate or something like that. Those videos, chock full of those videos. And every single one of them that I've seen have shown a better debate than what we have as a competition level debate in the House of Us.
Yeah, this is not any kind of a debate.
No.
It doesn't have any. There's no basis for the argument. It's just shooting the shit.
Yeah. Throwing around the basically the oldest, most debunked cliches and tropes. But hey, let's get back to Crazy Beautiful Women. Crazy Beautiful You.
Well, let's. But anyway, the second most successful film in Filipino film history, and the lady character did use a fancy word, temerity there, so scene saved and intellectual debate saved. But this is also kind of a theme that is promulgated throughout these films, all of the films in some way. That if you can call it sexism, I don't know, but there is this, that the male character is often the stronger and the morally more mature person, as is very evident in Crazy Beautiful You, where you have this lady just drawn from the city who doesn't know anything about anything, is drawn into the cell phone, whereas Padilla's character is mature, has helped people and knows how to run things, and there's more to life than cell phone. And it's also something that happens in Barcelona along Untold. This girl doesn't know how to basically hold any goddamn job in Barcelona, and the male lead has to help her over and over and over again.
And I was expecting and I was waiting when does this argument show up, because I was torn. Should I raise it up here now in Crazy Beautiful You, or should I save it to Barcelona? Because god damn, if these films don't love to use the man establishing his control over the women and that being good for the woman stereotype as a plot point repeated in, well, pretty much some way or the other in all of these films. Crazy Beautiful You and Barcelona are the most obvious ones here. In Crazy Beautiful You, there's a moment where Kiko literally handcuffs himself on Jackie to have control over her. And in Barcelona, our heroic and lovely male lead character, Ellie, was that his name? Yeah, Ellie. He confiscates the main lady's, Mia's passport, so that Mia can't leave Spain. And apparently keeps hold of her passport for a majority of the film. But we are never actually being shown that Ellie gives the passport back. But after the halfway mark, there is the heartbreak scene in Barcelona where it temporarily looks like that the relationship between Mia and Ellie is not gonna fall through, and at that point, Mia is downright suicidal, and Ellie is desperately looking for her from Barcelona, and they make the remark that Ellie should go to the embassy and look for Mia there, which at least to me screams that the fucking passport hasn't even still been returned back to Mia. And in Barcelona, this is a healthy romantic action done to other person. Like, I guess that's why human traffickers, take people's passports. It's because of the big heart that they all have.
But it's
romantic feelings and shit.
Romantic feelings and shit, and this whole control of the lady in many of these films, especially maybe Crazy Beautiful You and Barcelona, where Ellie thinks that he is now saving the lady from what looks to be a suicide situation, and then just grabs the lady and is about to, carry her out of the metro station.
Yeah, and for some reason, all the passerbys are completely cool with this.
Yeah, because it's romantic and sexy.
Yeah. But yeah, Ellie taking Mia's passport and keeping hold of it. It's perhaps the most insidious thing that I see I've seen in today's catalog of 5 movies. The male lead doing it's kind of competing with she's dating the gangster. I'm publicly threatening to kill myself stunt. I don't know which one is the worst, but they are most definitely like the first base for being insidious shitbag. That the competition is between these two stunts.
Yeah, threatening to kill yourself. It's romantic if you're a kid.
It's romantic. Remember, guys, if the lady doesn't soften up to you on the first try, publicly threaten to kill yourself until she budges.
Works every time.
Works every time. If it doesn't, steal the passport. Perhaps also threaten to kill her family. And if even that doesn't work out, I don't know, do a school shooting. Life lessons from Filipino films.
I can see how you could make like a remake of this film as a parody. But getting maybe back to Crazy Beautiful You.
We are getting sidetracked a lot. It's almost like there's not much to talk about in Crazy Beautiful You.
well, they get to the poor village, and they're taking these shitty photographs. And it just happens that she starts to understand the meaning of life. It's just kind of a Terminator storyline.
Fucking Terminator 2 did this shit better. And it's an action movie where 2 robots shoot each other in the fucking face.
Yeah. And someone is bleeding badly, but Madame Baby drives the car and she solves the incident by finding out that it was just her first period. So, lady power at the scene.
Which also was a scene to behold.
There's this kind of a turning point line around 40 minutes or something into the film where Jackie goes like, they already have no food to eat and yet they're giving it away. And for what? And then Padilla goes, for love. This changes everything for our girl character.
Yeah.
She's changing from Terminator to a human.
She realizes that you don't starve if you have love.
Yeah.
Love conquers all.
All.
I guess they just. I guess the cancer patient just didn't love enough in she's dating the gangster.
All you need is love and homeopathy. just believe in it.
Yeah. Don't go to hospital. Try those natural remedies.
Yes, so she cries behind the camera and all that, but that's not because she's feeling sorry for the kid who is hurt, but it's because of some personal matters with mom. I was confused. I was like rooting for her. Yes, you're feeling things, but it wasn't that feeling. No.
No, it wasn't. Like she saw the beauty in poor people who have been tucked away in a camp in the middle of a desert.
Nothing is ever difficult if it's for the people you love.
Yeah.
But so yeah, after a little issues with Mama, Madame Baby returns to the village willingly and states that it's because of for New York. I want to get to New York. But it's not for New York, really. Kiko has her in her arms. The love is getting delirious. And then the mayor's other son, Marcus, arrives to wreak havoc at 109. Just on time, the middle point twist comes here. The tertiary gatecrasher is on. And Kiko tries to give Madame Baby to Marcus because he's too selfless, like way too selfless. Guy, get a grip. You can't be that good. There are limits. There's a moment where Marcus is drunk. almost fights with brother, but yeah, the Kiko tells how it is. Just for once, give me this lady. And could it be the only moment proper where Padilla's character breaks down? He says, I get tired sometimes too. It's, I believe making coffee for the mama or something. And I only need a mother now. And tears.
It actually from 5 films.
So it's like a proper breakdown.
Well, there's a there actually there are for Padilla's characters there are exactly two breakup scenes that I can remember from these entire 5 films, like 5 movies in total. The second one would be in the House of Us when he sheds like a tear, maybe perhaps 2-3 marks, when he asks from George if George wants for him to get the fuck out of the house and leave her be.
Yeah, but Kathryn Bernardo saves the day with the tears, and actually is tearing up so much in these movies that she could single-handedly create her own Dead Sea with that.
Well, perhaps that's the reason why they work so well together, and why they have stayed together also off screen. Like Daniel has stolen Kathryn's passport and refuses to give it back, and Kathryn is the one who can cry for the both of them.
Okay, so everything seems to be good now in the poor land, and Madame Baby leaves the village in an emotional scene, crying with the little kids. Actually, I gotta give kudos for these kids for acting in this film. I think they're cute. I like those characters.
Yeah. Then, of course, once again, perhaps the whole poor village setup is something that I don't know if you could do that in Western cinema anymore.
No, yeah.
Like there, at least there would be a backlash if you would do this stunt. Like you would go into the slums or I don't know, refugee camp and just use them as a prop in your shitty rom-com.
Yeah, could be. And then just before the closing of the film, 1:38, Kiko and the mayor daddy settle things. Oh, I don't need to call you anymore mayor, and you're actually my dad. Wow, that is a big step. But I'm happy for them, and then Marcus is giving his blessings. Go on a date, go! And Madame Baby says also that I want to stay. She's about to go to the airport, or what is she doing? But yeah, then they meet at the city and no kiss. Roll credits. I kind of have a kind of a soft spot for Crazy Beautiful You because it's not trying anything crazy. Doesn't have like 2 embedding storylines like in She's Dating the Gangster. Just keeping it very simple. And it has this third party gate crusher, and it's just very simple, and the locations are good.
I don't know. To me, Crazy Beautiful You did actually nothing. Like, I kind of found Crazy Beautiful You to be the most kind of skippable, at least for me on the lineup. I watched these in the order that in the list order that you posted. So Must Be Love was the first one. She's Dating a Gangster. Second, Crazy Beautiful You was the third film for me. Barcelona and the House of Us. And it might be, of course, simply due to fatigue. That may be something that shows up in my reactions to these films. Must Be Love may get some undeserved credit from my end, simply by the virtue of it being the first film I checked out.
Yeah.
And well, She's Dating the Gangster stuck with me because of all that incel shit that went on. Barcelona caught my eye because of the hideous carrying passed out woman all around the city and stealing her passport stuff. And the House of Us, I kind of found it perhaps being the best of the lineup.
Okay.
So and that for me that leaves Crazy Beautiful You as the one in the middle that kind of does the exactly the wrong things, but doesn't really go into the territory of problematic like she's dating the gangster or Barcelona. And because of that, perhaps this is the most milquetoast movie.
Yeah.
For me.
It's keeping it very simple, and there's nothing additionally maybe interesting, like in the House of Us. There is this relationship that is extremely broken, and they gotta fix it somehow. And you don't really even believe it that they could fix this anymore. And Barcelona has that whole expat thing going on, but Crazy Beautiful You is just a whole lot of nothing really. But I'm biased too here, probably because Crazy Beautiful You was the first that I saw from this couple. Okay. Fourth film of the night. Barcelona, A Love Untold from 2016. Sorry, Paul. The film is directed by Olivia Lamasan, a highly experienced, qualified, respected director, and the managing director of ABS-CBN Film Productions. And she's the director of In the Name of Love and Starting Over Again, the two being some of the highest grossing Filipino films of all time. Cinematography is by Herman Claraval, known for overseeing the DP responsibilities also for Affliction, a Pinoy horror film. Screenwriters are the director Lamasan herself and Carmi Raimundo once again. Raimundo is also the producer writer for She's Dating the Gangster, Crazy Beautiful You, Hello Love Goodbye, and the TV Romcom The House Arrest of Us, which is the latest project with KathNiel. Yeah, it's some kind of a play of words with the House of Us. Now it's the House Arrest of Us, which deals with COVID, so they need to be inside the house all the time. With the two families are inside the household all the time, and of course the families hate each other. Well, quite appropriately, we're looking at a film shot in Barcelona, now that I'm here close by, living in Malaga, in Spain. First episode recorded from here. But I'm afraid that this film doesn't quite capture Barcelona. To be honest, every time they're outside, you barely get any kind of larger shots to get an idea of what kind of place this is. They pretty well miss all the famous spots that I would go and visit and film. It doesn't really scream romantic comedy to me.
Yeah, Barcelona is kind of weird one. Like I know a romantic comedy was the genre we were supposed to go with today. And Barcelona does have some attempts at comedy at times in it, but I'm not certain if Barcelona is a romantic comedy.
No, and where are those beautiful shots of the Sagrada Familia? Where are those beautiful shots from the edge of Park Well? Why are they not doing it?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Because the whole thing of Barcelona is that the production now has gone abroad, and they are shooting in Barcelona, and basically the only usage they get from that setup, outside of the expat nature of the story arc, is the fact that they use like one side of Sagrada Familia.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Familia, it happens to be perhaps the ugliest fucking viewpoint that you can find of the building.
You think? Isn't it from the front? But
in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I do know that Sagrada Familia is historically and architecturally important building. And I do know, or at least I'm under a I'm really, yeah, even another side of the building could have helped a lot here.
Yeah.
Or using a different angle. And to make matters worse, Barcelona's the narrative kind of hinges upon, or not hinges upon, but a large part of the narrative framework here is that the main dude Eli is studying architecture, and then in the architecture film of KathNiel, you actually, when the architecture is being presented, it's presented in the absolute worst possible light.
And how about some quick, large, wide-angle aerial shot when they get off the metro station? Because I believe they are at the location of the very famous square, and I think you would like to capture that. But this is made to look as glamorous as Salatut Elämät, the soap TV show from Finland.
which those who are not familiar with it, the international listeners, Salatut Elämät, The Secret Lives, it's a Finnish TV soap, and the cinematography is some of the worst you see in Finland, or at least was like, what, 2 decades? How long the fucking series is?
Something like
I
that.
checked out like 2 episodes from the very first season, and the cinematography was absolutely abysmal. And like Barcelona, it was filmed 2016. Like drones existed.
Yeah, there are some aerial shots, but no, not working.
No. And something that's also not working is the hidden talents that the main characters are supposed to possess in the film. Like this does in Crazy Beautiful You, I was laughing at the photography of our main lead lady Jackie. Barcelona kinda does the gender flip here at first, because it turns out that in Barcelona it's the male, it's the man Eli who gets a lot of kudos for doing something where he has no talent at all. Like Eli has at some point in his life, Eli has once opened Windows Movie Maker and tried like your clip art animations, and the result is some kind of an animatic masterpiece that has a huge effect on not just the main lady of the film Mia, but also basically to everyone else. And Eli goes around Barcelona just, handing DVD copies of his fucking subpar, I don't know, what they even used to make the animated feature, but goddamn, he goes around handing DVD copies of his animated film to people, and it's supposed to have like this huge life-changing emotional impact on people. And
You sure are not giving any slack for a low-budget Filipino film.
goddamn. Like I said this with Crazy Beautiful You, I say it also with Barcelona. I'm not any kind of a animator, but I would be able to do a better performance than the highly celebrated animation movie that Barcelona is hinting at. Like seriously, Philippines, I can do your shitty rom-coms animated features, like fuck, I'm $50 and I animate for you.
There you go. Offer is on the table.
Offers on the table.
Daniel Padilla, as mentioned, plays Ely, Antonio. Kathryn Bernardo as Mia de la Torre. And then Aiko Melendez plays Incian. 77 credits on IMDb. Long career since the early 80s. So she started as a child actors. She's a Japanese Filipino actress and is a former politician. Then we have Joshua Garcia, plays Toning, the little brother of Ely. He's also a dancer and commercial model. He rose to the map via the film Vince and Kath and James, a top grosser teen romance, and the TV crime drama series The Good Son, where he played a lead as well. Now that we've got that out of the way, what do we have here? Well, the film has garnered mixed reviews. Some blame this for a confusing or mechanical, unsatisfying build-up, but some even praise this film. Well, nevertheless, this is the film where I see them enter into a bit more mature roles, and they still do good performances in this new setting. The theme, though, I find it thematically maybe the most interesting out of these films, but not the best film. The feelings of living abroad, the conflict of having to leave a family behind. There are some good moral stories here to be found about work ethic and not giving up, but the ethics may go out of the window of being kind of a bitch to the lady. And the story is about being noticed, stories about pride, and the hard life of Pinoys when they go abroad to the UAE, which is one of the prime destinations for Filipinos, or Spain, and for other groups it might sometimes go like this, and sorting out your shit out before being able to love again, which is not handled well in this film. And neither is handled well the whole expat life, because at the end the film goes like, well, this was a terrible idea. Here I am, family, in your arms again. This was a shit show. Let's just be back in the Philippines. Being expat is wrong.
Yeah, but give some praise to Barcelona. At least it manages to avoid playing the dirty rapist foreigner stereotype by placing itself in Barcelona, where it's the dirty rapist local. So I guess that's something.
Who was the dirty rapist local?
It's the night cafe scene. Mia has been kicked out from the flat that she has been sharing with another Filipino, and she's at the cafe asking help from some dude who is not a Filipino.
Yeah, but it's established that somehow she would be the boss of this guy. I don't know how that really works because she's out of a job.
I don't know either. But anyways, she passes out on the table. And the dude goes like full rape mode activated. I'm just gonna carry the lady out.
I just read it as he wants to help, but he has some other stuff to carry as well. I don't know, but it seemed to me that he was just being like a helping hand here, the Padilla's character. Let me take care of this instead.
I didn't get that, because in that same moment Eli is supposed to play the knight in the shining armor who saves Mia from the danger. Like I read the scenes the way that Eli notices a dangerous situation. Passed out Mia is gonna be essentially date raped here, and decides to step in and drives the dude off, and then carries Mia, essentially to his own apartment, and also takes the passport away, because romance.
I just read that Ellie essentially sees Mia, and that's the reason for him to carry her home. His own home.
Okay, to me it was Eli saving Mia from being raped. The scene.
Nevertheless, Inciting Incident is here really quickly, again at the 4 to 5 minute mark when
My fucking god!
Ellie finds Mia. Love struck.
Actually, the
Stalking.
Yeah. I guess the inciting incident of the film is when Eli first time sees Mia in a subway,
Yeah.
and if uh, and this gets a bit tricky. Please take note that these films very heavily rely on the love on the first sight concept. They even make literal references to this by in the previous films, like with the lines that your eyes are the first thing that fall in love, or there must be a love's whole slow-mo moment thing where essentially just all of that is just enforcing the love on the first sight is the true love notion. And Barcelona also kinda does this as Eli sees Mia on the subway and immediately is taken by her. But unfortunately in Barcelona, the reason why that happens is because Mia happens to remind Eli of his dead ex-girlfriend.
Who looks like a photocopy.
Who looks like a photocopy, and that's where the romance starts. Which I'm not certain. Is this like tipping your toes in necrophilia? Like granted, Mia is very much alive, but the person you are projecting upon her is your dead girlfriend. So is this like fucking the corpse by proxy?
It doesn't seem like a healthy start, and you could have gone into so many directions with this plot.
Yeah, please, Olivia Lamasan and Carmi Raimundo, who are responsible for the script. If you ever, by any chance, come across this episode, please contact us on the Flick Lab Facebook page. You can just send us a private message. I'm desperate to know, is this necrophilia or what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah. It's romance.
it's romance.
There's an odd flashback of Mia as a child with her brother at the grave of a dog. And I think the film never returns to this point. It has no relation to anything whatsoever.
Well, there's a grave. It makes thematic sense.
I mean, there is a bit of these plot points that we never get into conclusion. They're just there to confuse you a bit or make it seem more rich than it actually is.
I guess they are trying to drive for some kind of a dramatic depth in the characters. like showing you that the character has gone through a dramatic moment.
Yeah.
But unfortunately nothing ever comes from these moments.
And then the backstory flashback of Celine getting shot accidentally by some weirdo.
Yeah, which also is like at least that flashback moment or that past event, it does actually play a role in the story, and it does play a role in Eli's character, because the whole thing with Eli is that Eli blames himself for the fact that Celine got shot previously, and also Celine's family is kind of guilt tripping Eli, I guess, to stay virgin by not directly, but kind of emotionally demanding that Eli stays true to the dead Celine and does not start another relationship. Eli falling for Mia is one of those high dramatic moments in the film where Eli also has to go to Celine's parents and apologize for the fact that he has now developed feelings for another woman, and the mom doesn't really take it all that well, and then the dad kind of gives an absolution to Eli, and he says that we still want you to be happy. Yeah. So if you have another woman now, it's okay, even though it breaks our hearts.
Oh my God. So, yeah, what was that? So, indeed, the kind of a midpoint big twist, which is kind of late at that this time, appearing at 131 in the film. Auntie has found that, or Auntie has found that Ellie is hanging out with a girl that looks just like their late Celine. And somehow this is a really, really, really bad thing, somehow. And the relationship becomes now strained also, somehow. And the visa is also about to expire. Everything goes to shit in like 2 minutes. And younger brother's tantrum about never wanting to come to Barcelona in the first place, which kind of has nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah, yeah, that was weird moment also.
Yeah,
Like, what the hell was going on there?
it's just the midpoint big twist.
Yeah, it's the three act structure. In the second act, the characters kinda have to reach the low point.
Yeah, because there had been absolutely nothing going on in the last 30 minutes, so you gotta have conflict somehow.
Oh boy.
And now both of their parents want them to come home at the same time. Some disaster moments to add to the plot, with Mama as Mia as has arranged her and Eli to meet in a restaurant. He didn't want it. And Mia is like, well, I just wanted to set your relationship right. And what the hell do you know about my private life? Good point.
A good point. Good point. Like what the hell were you thinking?
Yeah, that's 10 minutes, like everything goes to disaster. And 142. Yeah, this is the stop acting like you know my pain.
Yep.
And then 146, Mia almost kills herself, but then doesn't.
That was also a scene to behold. I would have actually given Barcelona more points if Mia would have just jumped at that moment.
Oh my God. Mia and Celine.
Then Eli could come to the subway station and start scrapping Mia's body from the tracks and be like, "You look exactly like Celine, and now you are moist."
Dark.
It would have been, since you wanna do this tonal twists movie, that would have been one departure where to take it. I wouldn't have seen that one coming.
Yeah, I do like when movies have this kind of combining completely different genres. And then the crisis of separation, it's a bit weird. I hope in time we will meet again in my story. And then she goes back to the Philippines to see the family. And then this whole evil mom thing is sorted out. The mom who wants to throw those checks all around. Everything is sorted out by kind of a crying scene where Eli is like, here's my work of art that I had been preparing for you.
Here's the fucking DVD copy of my shitty animated film. Watch this.
I didn't buy that this mummy is now, like, it's not possible to repair a mom like this.
I don't know. Maybe seeing the animated film was a wake up call for her. Like really, like she saw the quality of the feature and was like, oh hell, I really have to step in now. This is a cry for help, if anything.
Yeah, just play along, mom. Play along. Okay, so lead characters both go home and they're sorry that they ever left. And I hated this moment. Like, why do they need to be sorry for living their own lives?
Because they weren't living their own lives in Philippines.
And do you remember these flashbacks when the Mia character remembers just before almost jumping off the platform, the father throwing all kinds of insults that you are nothing, you are worthless,
Yeah,
you're a shame for the family.
Yeah, I'm ashamed of you.
Yeah.
And hits her.
And then she goes back and it's like, I'm sorry, Papa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you were the one who was at wrong in that moment. And the reason for that giant ass freak out from her dad's part was that Mia had cheated on a test.
Right, he found out?
Yeah.
Oh,
He found. I don't remember if it was the school who had catched up on the
well, the
fact that
school
Mia had.
for sure knew, and Eli knew as well from some source.
Yeah, but but essentially that's the major crime behind Mia. That's what like Barcelona star kind of the case with Mia is that she has run away from home all the way to Barcelona because of this dark secret, this monkey on her back, and she can't go home because her dad is so upset with her and refuses to make any contact. And then it turns out that the reason for that is that Mia has once cheated on one exam.
Bad.
Bad. You have to do a fucking seppuku now. How can you disgrace this family so deeply?
And the climax of Act 2, everything's sorted out as they meet at a set in the Philippines, supposedly. And there's been like this 5 to 10 minute segment where they have been in their home country and sorting their shit out emotionally and with the family. And now it's time to say, I truly love you because I love you. That's it. And 2 years later, they're at the Sagrada Familia and will you marry me? Roll credits.
Yeah. And before we, escape to our final film for today, I also have to point out that Barcelona has that plot point when Mia becomes some kind of a production assistant and scriptwriter for commercial shorts and artistic short films. Those films all suck. They were obnoxious to watch.
The House of Us, the 5th film for tonight. I raised my hat for you that you watched also that I was putting as the optional choice as the movie to watch for this episode. That was Must Be Love. So here we are, 5 films of Romcom. The House of Us, 2018 film, directed by Kathy Garcia Molina, the director of She Stayed in the Gangster and Hello, Love, Goodbye. And the cinematography is by Noel T. Hankey, also did Hello, Love, Goodbye. Screenwriters are again Carmi Raimundo, hi, and the director, and Gillian Ebrio, another rom-com writer. Music by Jesse Lassaten. Composed also the music for Must Be Love, Can't Help Falling in Love, and Hello, Love, Goodbye. Okay, what do we have here as thematics, Henrik?
From today's films, even though Barcelona had throw an entire dead lady at your face, I think the House of Us is the hardest, like emotionally wise, the darkest film. It's a mixture of your wacky romantic comedy and a serious drama film. Essentially, to give you a quick rundown of the plot. As we already previously mentioned, there's a debating competition where our main characters George and Primo meet for the first time. They fall in love almost immediately after calling each other with actually quite toxic stereotypes, but love happens. And it turns out that kind of a spin from our previous films where the dude is supposed to be super hardworking and the woman is the one who has to learn to do work and take responsibility. In the House of Us, it turns out that it's the woman George who is the hardworking one, while Primo is the more of a dreamer, wants to chase his dreams about music career, and those two personalities clash, as George, who tries to juggle between work and prepping for prepping for tests in order to be able to study medicine, feels that Primo is not really supporting and carrying his weight in the relationship, leading them separating. And Primo vanishes somewhere into the thin air for X number of years, while George becomes a career woman who is really close at getting into medical school. And well, this is the moment where the film properly starts. All of a sudden, Primo shows up at the house that he and George once shared together, and George is in progress in the process of selling the house. Primo tries to stop the sale from going through, and now after this long separation, they once again have to kind of live together. And well, the main question really comes down to, well, will the old feelings be rejuvenated, and will they once again get back together?
Yeah, this is a weird step for the film that they give up the house because there were only two goddamn wishes from the late mom towards the couple that please stay together until the end of times. Not so hard to do, right? And second is easier. Just cling on to the house. They promise to cling on to the house. Of course, then they sell the house for respectable grounds to get this little kid to meet his father, who is in a grave anyway. But yeah, it's a kind of a bummer. At the end of the film, okay, they have each other, but the house and all the memories of that, it's gone. You know, where are they gonna go now?
Who knows? Who knows? It's actually a good question.
Maybe it's a good thing, but I just felt that this they kind of lost something important to them.
Yeah, that's a interesting remark to make because, well, once again, to get back to the way how these films are structured, after the film ends, the credit starts to roll, and much like, for example, in old Jackie Chan movies, when the credits roll, you get B-movie material of the scenes that didn't end up in the film because something goofy happened in the scenes. Like the actor started to laugh at the middle of a sentence, or the boom mic hit the wall, or something like this. These funny antics.
Bloopers.
You have a whole reel of these moments as the credits roll. And the House of Us actually takes a departure from this. It still has the reel going on with the end credits, but in the House of Us, it's actually something that still relates to plot. The real, as you are watching the credits roll, the film itself is still wrapping up because there's a long discussion that George and Primo are having with the new owner of the house, where they talk about what the house means to them and also about love and relationship all together. Like the new owner is giving them the life advices that you just have to stick together and love will hold you together if you just let it. And that whole segment, I took it that it's the film trying to tell the audience that Primo and George, despite losing the house, they are still in a good place and they are moving forward, and losing the house was not really that devastating or that hard thing for them at the end. Like it's kind of giving the audiences an emotional absolution for the fact that the characters lost the house in course of the film. And that's kind of a interesting note to end your film, especially since as you pointed out, the film itself does not manage to tell you what happens to these characters from the house setting point onwards. Like, where are they gonna go physically? Where are they now physically as characters? And since the film doesn't tell you this, now it tries to give you kind of an emotional closure on the moment where it shows both George Primo and the new owner of the house being completely zen and okay with the fact that they no longer have the house.
At least the old lady has given her promise that she will take care of the house, and
Yeah,
unlike the
yeah.
couple who was unable to.
Yeah, and at least she has a lot of flowers, so there is going to be a colorful flower bed surrounding the house.
Yeah, I guess they're gonna go to Amsterdam, those tulips.
Yeah, perhaps. You, like Amsterdam is a legit possibility for these characters because, uh, once again, story-wise, especially for George, Amsterdam and the goddamn tulips were supposed to be a major emotional thing. That was something that she had always wanted to go and something that she had always wanted to see. And vice versa to Primo, who actually has gone to Amsterdam. Amsterdam was supposed to be some kind of a place of spiritual and emotional healing. Like a place where he learns to take responsibility and where he sheds the I wanna chase my dream and become a musician side of himself, finds humility, and then from Amsterdam he returns back to George at the very beginning of the film to, as a new man, try to win her back. So the Amsterdam for these characters, it's a major location, and therefore them selling the house and returning back to Amsterdam would be a legit possibility, and I can't understand why the film does not tell you this. Like, why doesn't it show you the characters returning back to Amsterdam?
That's a good point. Could have ended with that note. Like some kind of shot then boarding the plane and going there, living happily ever after. Regarding the tulips, is it the film just trying to show us that nothing is really going according to our plans here in Amsterdam? The father is dead and I can't have my tulips. Nothing is really going as things go in the movies. So, or is it just that they happened to be filming there at the wrong time and were unable to find the goddamn tulips?
I'm guessing that it tries to kind of it tries to do two things. It tries to have this more realistic spin, as this is the emotionally hardest and hard hitting films of these, and also the one that perhaps aims most at a realistic depiction of life. So by everything going tits up in Amsterdam, it's trying to give you that realism.
Yeah.
Like, of course you don't eventually find your dad from Amsterdam and he has passed away because life does not work like a typical rom-com. And at the same time it tries to show you that even though you don't get what you wanted in the beginning, you can still kind of find something new from the situation. Like, George has always wanted to see tulips in Amsterdam, and when they finally reach the flower fields, it turns they find out that it's the wrong season, and George can't get the tulips. And then they turn around and they see the summer flowers that are now blooming right behind them, and that's also a really colorful and beautiful flower field, and they can walk amongst that field of flowers now. So it's kind of like, I didn't get the tulips, but if I turn around, I can still skip. There's still beauty and possibilities for me.
And a quote, "Even my fart was proud," was inserted in this scene. I have no idea what the context was, but I was so confused. Why is this fart being talked about here?
Well, it was a really beautiful fart, I guess.
Yeah, way to ruin the moment.
Yeah, way to take the moment and the feeling and just drive it headfirst to a brick wall.
Yeah, what is it with Filipino rom-coms and farts? Seriously. Random farts.
Well, I guess Filipinos have been watching American comedy films, unfortunately really shit comedy films, and gotten under the impression that fart is automatically funny.
It's not.
It's not.
So stop.
Yeah.
We have an inciting incident in 3 minutes in this film. Must be a record. They start with the middle part of the film when Primo has returned to the flat that they own 50-50, and the vase is flying in the air towards his face. Then we have the sexist beginning at the school, the so-called argumentation. They visit the mom's grave in broken clothes, whatever. Then the band member leaves the band because no money coming in. I believe this is the kind of the Act 2 starting point. And the angry phone call. I'd rather die than do something I don't want to. Throws the phone around or something. Then Primo gets drunk and she loses her possibility to go to the exams to get into this university or high school. A bit later, Primo returns to the town. There's a disagreement about selling the house, and the foreplay between the characters sort of starts here. Middle point, big twist. They kiss, and she pulls back. Her feelings are not yet properly propagated, so we just have to wait 1 hour more for that to happen. Some obstacles happen here. We have the loss of the vision of the kid, a total subplot at this point. Wants to see dad, we find out. We get softer feelings between the characters. The couple talks by the stairs. They're in some sort of amicable terms. Then house is sold, yippee-yay, motherfucker, and then they go to Amsterdam. The Amsterdam takes hold of the story. At this point, you're like, why? But it's for the characters to have some private time by the flowers. And of course, there's the playing the music by the street. The song is, of course, all about her, and then all this talking to her ear that listen how hard times this Primo has had while he's been away. How rough his life's been.
Yeah, his dad died and
got a stroke, but survived.
Had a stroke, and he had to take his dad's job and clean toilets, and he had to give up music, and his dog died, and the goldfishes eat each other, and it was raining the entire time, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, collecting food from the rubbish bin.
Yeah, and I couldn't get past the fact. During this moment, that the film calls a special notice the fact that Primo is playing original Filipino song. He states it out to the whole group of listeners. And I don't know what that song is, but I was listening to it, and by God, the rhythm of the song is eerily similar to Katri Helena's song Katson autiota hiekkarantaa.
Is that a cover, by the way, or is it original?
To my understanding, Katri Helena's song is actually original. It's not cover of anything.
Yeah.
But what Primo plays, it's almost like soft acoustic cover of Katson autiota hiekkarantaa. And I'm just going there like, yeah, original Filipino song. I see what you did there, you sneaky bastard.
Yeah, you just went to Finland and took Katri Helena's song.
Yeah.
But maybe not, though.
Most likely that didn't happen. I'm fully willing to give this to just an accidental occurrence.
When you think about the melody of that song, like could be in a million songs.
Most likely that been in million songs, but that's it. Did it win any favors from me by playing that song? It was like, okay, this is something that I didn't expect to witness and hear on a Filipino rom-com.
And while Katri Helena is playing, she is having the ability emotionally to kind of level with him and see, like, eyes opened. Oh, yeah, he has had it rough. This is this is a bad thing, and maybe I should actually
Start a relationship
start
with
a
him
relationship.
because he has had a rough patch in life.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just so shoehorned. Like, let me tell you a story. This guy has had it really fucking bad.
It's made even worse by the fact that it's Primo's friend
Yeah.
who is literally standing behind George and literally whispering to his ear
Yeah.
how bad life Primo has been having.
Yeah.
It's like almost literally, goddamn, the devil on your shoulder.
If only real life would work like that. You just switch the volume button a little bit, put the music out a little bit, and you can hear your friend perfectly.
I know that people have this concept of wingman, who is a person who's supposed to help you when you're trying to woo the ladies, and that dude right there, that's a wingman, like ace level wingman.
Maybe he was hired by Primo. Please say those words.
I wouldn't be surprised if that would have been a plot point.
Player.
Player.
So, they come back and there's this timeless love collection vinyl lying on the wooden boards of the flat, and there's a letter inside. She reads it. Something about how I love you and I can't live without you. And did he also mention that he did something great for the mom? Kind of gave money away to kind of pay for the operation or something like that.
It makes a notion that he has given the money away for a right purpose. I never exactly was certain what that purpose was.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was because for the operation, but I'm not entirely certain because that scene is kind of being told kind of hastily. Like the band members are there with Primo and being kind of grateful, acting kind of grateful towards Primo, and being like, I'm certain that she will understand. But you're never actually given the full context where the money has just gone.
Yeah, and when he was completely drunk and on the ground, the film is kind of trying to shoehorn in the fact that all the time Primo was like, please follow your dream and please stay in the car and take the exam.
Yeah, like with the letter, what happened is that the letter is supposed to reframe a bunch of scenes that you have seen at the beginning of the film. Like the way how the narrative works is that at the beginning of the film, George is telling the audience how the relationship between her and Primo ended. How George became less affectionate with Primo. And to show you this deterioration of their relationship, you are shown a series of clips from their relationship, where one of them is the one you mentioned or just mentioned. George has the medical exam and or has the exams in order to get to medical school, and Primo is drunk and he can't stand up. He can't walk straight because of his drunkenness, and George gets on the bus that's supposed to take her to wherever the exam is to take place, but has to get off the bus because Primo just can't even stand straight, can't even stand or in that moment, and because of that, George loses her chance for that year to apply for medical school. Another scene that plays out in the beginning is the also a scene mentioned previously. Primo is having a phone call with someone, and George hears how Primo is yelling to that other person how he rather die than give up his dreams and do something that he does not want to do for a living. And then here at the leather scene, both of these scenes get reframed. Like you are being offered the hidden information that George did not get in the beginning of the film. You are now being shown the whole truth. And well, when it comes to Primo being head ass drunk, well, that's now revealed that in that moment Primo was like, don't get out of the bus to himself. When it comes to that phone call, it's now shown that Primo was having a phone call with his dad, who was yelling at him that Primo is wasting his life and he should just get any job, no matter how scrappy it is, and he should, get into the hotel toilet cleaning business just so that he would do any job and not waste his time by chasing his dreams as a musician. And Primo yelling that he would rather die than give up his dreams is an emotional response to what his dad said to him.
And I can relate to this that it's really sad in a way to see that Primo has to give up his dreams a bit to be the kind of character that would stand in a relationship or keep a relationship going. I guess those are the choices that you have to make.
It is a bit sad, but at the same time, it's also reinforcing one of the once again cliches that we have seen in all of these films, which this time around is the fetishization of the concept of you being a hard worker. Because what that reframing and in the leather scene is supposed to show you is that Primo is not really, he's not a lazy person, and he's not someone who would truly do everything in his power in order to chase his dreams, and because of that he wouldn't start cleaning up toilets. The whole point is in that moment is to reframe Primo as a hard-working person who is not above cleaning up toilets. So and therefore it's once again it's fetishizing this whole concept that you have to be super hardworking, and your value as a human being is tied down to exactly how much work you are willing to put up and do, and exactly how kind of a grimy work you are willing to do. But the previous films also do this. That in those previously it has been fetishizing the concept of work through the lady characters of the movie. In Barcelona, the main lady has to like her value in that movie is being shown to you piece by piece by her picking up different jobs and doing one job, two jobs, three jobs at the same time. Eli is being lifted up on the pedestal from the get-go in that film by the fact that he's also doing like three different jobs at the same and studying at the same time. In Crazy Beautiful You, Jackie's whole emotional healing and rebuilding of her character happens through her actively taking part in the poor people camp and her starting to do something and using her for a hobby of photography in a professional quality. Being a photographer who can have a show of her work and who can take photographs for important people. In She's Dating the Gangster, also there that the need to be a hard worker is not highlighted so much, but it also is brought up, especially with the adult versions of the characters. And well, Must Be Love, once again, Patchot's basically one major part of Patchot's character there is the fact that she's working hard on her dad's business.
Yeah, that is true, and there's a lot to be fixed in this film, and it's almost unbelievable that they are able to overcome all that has happened. It seemed really murky. He left under the circumstances when she herself was completely broken down and didn't know what to do, and money was being wasted by him, and he wasn't doing anything useful, just chasing his dreams, and unfortunately it wasn't working out. Getting drunk, and she wasn't able to study, which is probably a big hindrance also to money. Maybe that would have been financed by the family somehow, and now perhaps that's not gonna happen. So how is she going to feed herself? That is a tough position to repair, but they're able to do that.
Yeah, and I, for one, didn't buy that one. That like them rebuilding and correcting their relationship and getting back together.
The way that Primo comes back to the house, it's like he's overly confident that he will be able to repair this relationship. It seems to me.
Yeah, he returns kind of like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, he wants to downplay everything that happened. He says sorry, but it takes a little bit more than sorry to work the shit out. And finally, he realizes that there is much more hurt in there to be repaired that he can probably ever be able to fix. But I perhaps kinda did buy it, because by the end there's so many good things, good sides that he sees about the new Primo that maybe they should just get together, because they seem to be still very much having feelings towards each other, and maybe this is now something after all that can be fixed. Give it a try, a second go. But a lot of hurt was done.
Yeah, I really don't know about giving it a go anymore, because when it comes to characters, I felt that George's character, and this is kind of once again something where film wants to tell you very like handheldly one thing, while I felt something else. But film wants to show you that George is kind of broken inside because she and Primo have broken up, and that has kind of made George well not evil and not mean, but cold, a cold person. The film imposes this on you by the way how George dresses up, with the fact that she uses blue-colored contact lenses that give her a kind of an icy stare.
Oh boy.
Constantly.
Yeah, a little stop there, because I thought those look really horrible on her. She looks really cold.
Yeah, she does. And as you know, the feelings between them, the two of them, start to warm up, and George starts to more kind of think the possibility of taking Primo back. She starts to use the contact lenses less. She wears her business attire less, and her demeanor kind of changes. She starts to soften up as a person, which once again is the film telling you that she too is healing. And the result of that healing process would be that George would realize that she should take Primo back. And at the same goddamn time as this is going on a visual and contextual level in the film, I felt that George became a less interesting character. Like I found that I felt that George was more. She was kind of smarter. She was more witty. She was more fun to follow when she was wearing those contact lenses. And this became almost a kind of a narrative constructual point to me, where it was so that whenever George was wearing those contact lenses, that, as you point out, made her look so goddamn cold. But still, in those moments, I had most fun with with the character of George. Like the most laughs and the most jokes came from those moments. Her rebuffs against Primo's arguments were the sharpest and clearest on those moments. And the more she softened up as a character, the more boring she became. And it's funny because the film also has this gay best friend character in it, and the gay best friend makes the remark that the George who is warm to Primo and the George who wants to get back with Primo is kinda the stupid George. And that's actually what happens in the film. That the more she wants to be with Primo, the less witty and the less counter-attacky she is. So,
Of course. Though.
yeah. So, she actually does become more stupid and more dull the more, the two manage to fix their relationship.
Yeah, when Primo comes back to the house, it's not quite like on the level of in Crazy Beautiful You, where it's kind of the sexist jokes, like when they still don't totally meet eye to eye, the Padilla character is throwing casually these jokes like, oh, see you in my dreams. It's kind of on that territory when he arrives there to the house.
It kinda is.
Yeah. And it takes a long time in the film to repair this relationship. And it's starting somewhere, well, it's already this kind of a dance starts around the 42 minutes mark when there's this disagreement about selling the house and they kind of take us back to the present day. And it takes like glorious 1 hour, 20 minutes to solve everything. And it's a long time. I wasn't totally into it all the way through. And that the film is certainly dark. I felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster ride going through some of my past relationships. And this feels like the kind of a situation that you possibly cannot fix. And somehow it was hard to watch. This is the kind of film that I will not watch again.
Okay.
But at the same time, this was one of the more interesting ones of these films.
Okay, for me, it had nowhere near that strong emotional connection or effect. I do admit that The House of Us is the darkest of these films, but even with that acknowledgement, I didn't really have an emotional connection with the movie.
Yeah, it's like they did something that you can't, in my opinion, repair, and then it becomes kind of awkward to follow these characters. Almost like it was so bad, and what are you gonna do about it?
Well, something you can do about it is finally remember that you're also supposed to be a rom-com
Yeah.
and start inserting hilarious comedic elements to the story. For example, with all the jokey jokes that Primo, dishes out when they are in Amsterdam.
Oh yeah, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
Those jokes.
Yeah.
Where does a hamster live? In a cage.
What do people in Amsterdam love to eat? Amsterdam and cheese.
Quality jokes.
My fucking god.
That was bad.
It was. But hey, at least it tried, I guess. I mean, it is the darkest of the rom-coms, and that was the calm on rom-com.
Well, at least she is also like seriously.
Well, at least they didn't kiss during that boat going up in under the bridge scene.
Oh yeah. I was kind of expecting that, but no.
I was too, judging by exactly how bad the films had been on, previously
Ouch.
on this diseased genre, and that's something that I most definitely count as a win.
Yeah.
I would have actually appreciated the movie more, and I most likely I would have felt that this would have been more honest, more realistic film had the two not ended up together at the end of the film.
Diabetic retinopathy is incurable, as is true love.
Apparently, yeah. So yes.
Some plants grow better together. Okay, quickies. Special mention for an actor goes to.
From my part, it actually goes to the first film we talked about must be Love. It's John Lapus who plays the gay barber Tita Baby.
Oh, wow. That is an unusual choice. Okay, but actually explain to me this whole thought process with your character.
Uh, my big essence stems from the fact that we have been watching rom-coms, and I felt that Tita Baby as a character best reached a certain level of being an actual character in a rom-com, still being I didn't laugh at any of her remarks, but there was kind of there was an attempt. There was an attempt of some type of a feeling and spirit in some of her lines, and I felt that Lapus managed to. Despite the fact of how bad the material was, I do think that Lapus managed to elevate it at least a bit.
I thought her character was irritating. She's like the a zombie lady who spends the maybe first 30 minutes of the film just being completely unresponsive, and I thought there's some kind of brain issues going on, but it's just something about her feelings.
She is completely the gay barber stereotype. That is also something that these films love to depict. Like, if you have a gay character, it's going to be the gay barber.
Gay or transsexual or whatever the case.
Yeah, whatever the case. But unless you are straight, get to the barber shop, please. But having gone through 5 films worth of stereotypes and cliches and tropes, and most of the time me not really connecting with the two leads. Like, I know I'm supposed to be like Daniel and Kathryn gave the strongest performances and whatnot, but most of the time I didn't connect with them. I had a small connection in Must Be Love, no connection at all with She's Dating the Gangster, not connection at all with Crazy Beautiful You, Barcelona. Had she jumped on the train tracks and had he come on and scooped the corpse, perhaps then, but not. Uh, in how the House of Us, I did have connection for the first half of the film.
Are there any
It's
rom-coms that you specifically like, or is this just rom-com hatred?
it's a combination, I must admit. I don't like venomously hate rom-coms as a genre, but I do hate most of the rom-coms. There is this like these have been like very formulaic, very surface level, not really doing anything, giving the wrong lessons, preaching about the how the first case you cast upon, that's the sign of love on the first sight. Love conquers all, the power of love, messaging. I really do am against rom-coms that can't do anything else but beat that dead horse.
I think these would be complete dead horse films if the Daniel Padilla, Kathryn Bernardo would not be in this and bringing their chemistry here.
Okay, I really didn't feel that. I do understand that I'm supposed to see them as some kind of a saving grace of these films,
They
but
are
I
so
didn't.
cute. They're so cute
They are
together.
not. They are not.
Well, so both leads are good to me, but Kathryn Bernardo cries the best. I mean, certainly gets some of her moments to shine in these films. She's quite natural from what I can tell. I don't speak, once again, Tagalog, but I get a very natural performance of them.
She has her definitive highlight in the first half an hour of the House of Us when she fucking hates Daniel.
Yeah, and I would say also when she reads the letter and turns around.
No, 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 no. To me, that was a dead moment. I,
Even
I was like, please, 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 already
i-
get the blue contact lenses back.
But not only can she convincingly cry, but I can buy her emotions are quite real when most of the time when she does that. Not all of the time. Acting next to the love of your life might help a little bit with that. But what resonated with you the most in these films?
Uh, uh,
Or one single most memorable experience?
I kind of have two answers for the this one.
Mhm.
Kind of the or when it comes to the combination of these films, the House of Us when it once again the first half an hour when the relationship is the most damaged and there is the sense of the emotional hurt that I felt was perhaps the didn't really resonate with me truly, but I felt that there perhaps we have reached a certain type of emotional high point of these five films. But if I'm supposed to kind of look these as a whole, like what in the combination of five films resonated me most in total, I guess it would be all the uncomfortable and problematic shit that just happens in these films.
Yeah, all of these films are really flawed in some of the ways that they have some plot points and then not going through with them or just drawing the wrong conclusions, like you said. In three adjectives, or yeah, let's go with three. In three adjectives, how would you describe the KathNiel films?
Well, we are going with the new template, so I'm sticking with only one.
Go ahead. You've
It
been going with three recently, so I changed
This is kinda cheap shotting from me, but formulaic because these are. I know. We dropped the accusation of films being formulaic in this podcast ever so often, but I kind of have to stress out that in today's episode, these are so formulaic these movies that in today we have basically just landed upon the next film and one of the first things that we have done is being pointed out how the formula once again is at work.
I have to agree with you on that. I would almost use the same word, means the same, manufactured, because, as you said, they often follow this super predictable and safe plot structures.
Yeah, manufactured, perhaps even better than formulaic.
I would also say cute, because that's what they are. With the charm of the leads, I think these films are most definitely elevated. Remove those guys and you have nothing. Dear jerky, it's not a good adjective, but they most definitely are dear jerky. No doubt that is what they do. Did you shed any tears?
No, no, only out of boredom.
Would you consider to watch these KathNiel films ever again?
No,
No.
no. Yeah, yeah, no, no.
For me, though, somehow I liked watching this. But to be honest, there are so many of such films that I don't think I'll be watching these on my own again. I've got to move on. But if I ever needed to recommend romantic films from the Philippines specifically, sure, hey, okay, I could recommend some KathNiel as a really effective time waster, and I can join in to watch it, okay, but that's about it. It's not like you really suffer watching this. It's a good time waster that we watched for over 8 hours or something like this. Do you think the films have any staying power, legacy?
Me personally, no.
Mhm.
I don't think they do. KathNiel as a relationship may have, as long as the actors are alive. In Philippines, perhaps even longer. There's a chance, of course, that they will become one of the legendary couples of Philippine cinema. But do the films themselves have staying power? I don't see that one happening.
I, on my end, I think yes, they will have people in the Philippines will be watching this, and the nearby markets will be watching this. Those who get any Pinoy film circulation. These are, after all, now considered the box office queen and king. They are part of the Pinoy film history. So yeah, I think so.
I would almost recommend that you just get better films.
Well,
Like import them if you have to. That they make movies in Hollywood. For 200 quid I can come and direct you a film. Hint hint nudge nudge.
rough ride for Pinoy films tonight. But would you recommend these films, Henrik?
No. I would not. And for today's episode, I actually went an extra mile behind the scenes. On two separate occasions, just in case that this is me being a man or me not getting rom-coms or me not liking the genre, just to avoid that. On two different occasions, those were Crazy Beautiful You and Barcelona. I made certain that I checked out the films with members of female sex. So ladies were present, checking these films with me.
All of them.
All of them, god damn it. And with some of them, mind you, sex was at least a possibility before I put the film on. And then the movie happened. And well the sex didn't. From this academic research that I performed, I have come to a hypothesis that it's not just me, and it's not just me being a man and me not getting the genre. No, it's also the ladies who don't like these movies.
Oh, come on. You were just there being the analytical you and putting the film down and then...
I swear to God, I kept my mouth shut until they started to make remarks.
Actually, I can believe that because I remember how you watch films in Kauhajoki Festival. You're just completely locked in to the film. Nothing else exists than the film. And I really appreciate that. And that's you go into this other world completely. So it seems to me.
And this time around, I wanted to make certain that I wouldn't start to sabotage the experience for, the other members of the audience in my home theaters as we watched these. I did understand that there's a pretty big possibility that me just not being the biggest fan of rom-coms, I would start to point out mistakes and badmouth the films, and that way I would sour the film experience for the ladies. So I double checked that I keep my mouth shut at least as long until they start making remarks about the film. So I can say that the ladies started it.
For me, this is where it gets a bit tricky. These are all still very, very average rom-coms for me, for sure. Without the charm of these leads, as I said, these films would be nothing. Must Be Love is perhaps even an overlong teenage triad drama that rides completely on its lead characters here. And I actually didn't really care for Lisa Soberano's performance as Angel. She seems really wooden as the kind of competing leading Cute film, but objectively speaking, no recommendation. She's dating the gangster. Here we have these two plots intertwining, two storylines. As I said, the older actors destroyed the emotional build-up for me. They're just sitting on the bench there, that's it. I think having the two storylines to begin with is quite unnecessary. I started to think about that you could have kept essentially most of the events on the same storyline with ease. It seems like unnecessary gimmick to make the film feel richer. Something that Barcelona might do as well. Anyway, the past storyline is a bit more interesting. I don't entirely feel this film, so no recommendation. Especially no recommendation for the end solution of planting in a faked plane crash. Crazy Beautiful You, I thought, as I stated, kind of the funniest and maybe the most satisfying of these films. Nothing fancy, just stupid romcom. Cool location, proper triad competition for the lady. I don't care for the literal toilet humor, but it might be the smoothest package. You have the simple arc, good simple conflict, interesting locale, and my first KathNiel film, so some bias is involved, most likely. But the film doesn't kind of yonder on with weird subplots, or it doesn't rush into its ending. So, I don't know, I'm just gonna recommend this. If you're into rom-coms, I think you'll have fun with Crazy Beautiful You. It's okay. Barcelona, Love Untold. It rushes the ending. It has unresolved subplots. It falls asleep in the middle. It has nothing to do for maybe 30 minutes. And then the dude says like, home sweet home. And living abroad is the work of the devil. No recommendation. The House of Us, the nice play on words here. Those contact lenses, big minus. She looks really angry and frightening. The idea is interesting, but the film is inherently depressing. I didn't like watching this film. I've been through these real life breakups, and that lasted almost as long. But Kathryn Bernardo is being really good in this. Maybe it feels a little bit too real sometimes. Then we have the Let's Find Daddy subplot quest. A bit uninteresting and pasted in. And the end resolution is they're like, yay, we're together, but we lost the house thing. This is Kathryn's acting, top notch, but this film just makes me tremendously sad. And like I said, I won't be watching it again. But okay, fuck it. I'll recommend it. It's an interesting study of how you can overcome intense emotional hurt. Perhaps you can. That's 2 recommendations out of these films, and that's enough.
Well, that's quite a lot.
I know. Complete the sentence, please. You really know you're watching KathNiel films. When?
When the movie gets drunk and threatens to jump from the rooftop, unless you give it your passport.
Okay. You really know you're watching KathNiel films when love conquers all, including, but not limited to, your dream house, your expat life, lethal disease, and hardcore misogyny. Well, it's been charming discussing rom-coms tonight here, Henrik. Sorry, Po.
I'm certain that everybody has gained a lot from this experience. Especially our listeners, who must be on the heap of their joy at the moment. Especially those in Philippines. Like I'm dead certain that you have some friends who will check out this episode and once again be extremely pissed with me. and most likely death threats are starting to circulate again. But hey, what can I say? What can I say? Except for 200 quid, I can come and make you a better rom-com, guys.
What can I say except that I think you have stolen your own passport in a way that you're making your entry to several countries even harder and harder.
There's only so much I'm willing to do in order to at least get some enjoyment out of my passport. And endorsing these films, this is just bridge too far.
Any further thoughts, or would that be our next Romcom then?
I guess the bridge to Romcoms has been temporarily burned.
Anyway, salamat po, thank you for joining us. And we would like you to, of course, feel invited to continue this wonderful conversation online about the KathNiel phenomena on our social media pages. What did you think of their films? As it might differ a lot from our views. Also, please leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts. On a hindsight, maybe don't. In the next episode, where's our voyeurism taking us?
I actually don't know.
Would it be a doctor, a scientist, organist, biblical scholar, Dr. Anton Vibes?
Well, I guess I also have to cancel my visa to Britain. But sure, why not?
Yeah, he is a guy who seeks revenge in 2 films. The abominable Dr. Vibes and Dr. Vibes Rises Again.
Both cult films, both also movies that I actually shamefully have never checked out before. So, why not? I guess it's a high time for me to finally actually watch two horror films that some feel are the best of British horror.
Okay, that's interesting. I thought you had seen these classics, but hell, this is gonna be fun.
Or a flaming train wreck, who knows yet?
Find out very soon. Now this would be hello, love, goodbye from the lab, and see you in a fortnight.
Until then.
Mitäs helvettiä, melkein 4 tuntia.
And the audience is like, fucking A!
One for the team!
Smelly sweat beast and really ugly and smells real bad.
She could single-handedly create her own Dead Sea.
Please, lady, get the blue contact lenses back.